Supposedly, 2 bags full of cash were found at the PMO. That's what you're trying to say. And
But
that is sourcing Mitrokin archives.
yeah,
So let's start with what are the Mitrokin archives?
Mitrokhin archives were the set of archives which were done by Vasily Mitrokhin. He was the DG of KGB at one point of time, and he has served the KGB for 40 years. So one thing comes, what is the KGB? The KGB is the secret intelligence agency of Russia, or the then Soviet Union. तो 1917 में मतलब जब बोल्शेविक गवर्नमेंट फॉर्म हुई, तो उसी साल दिसंबर में चेका फॉर्म हुई. चेका बेसिकली एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन थी, एक तरीके से सीक्रेट अंडरग्राउंड ऑर्गेनाइजेशन थी जो डायरेक्टली फंडेड थी. मतलब व्लादिमीर पुतिन जो है किसी भी तरीके की सम रेबिलियन है, लाइक समवेयर देयर इज अ रेबिलियन, एंड वो डायरेक्टली इन्वॉल्व नहीं होना चाहता है, तो ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस लाइक चेका वर मतलब उनको यूज किया जाता था. तो
basically to stay, keep the government's name out of the main situation.
तो आर्काइव्स मतलब जब 1990 में एक चीज सामने आई कि जो चेका है उसके 250,000 एम्प्लॉइज थे एक टाइम पे, उनका स्टाफ, और उन्होंने सपोजिडली 140,000 पीपल को एग्जीक्यूट अपने आप किया था. लाइक सच वाज देयर. इतने लेवल का कुछ एग्जीक्यूशन कोई पर्टिकुलर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन कर रही है, तो जनरली लोगों को पता चल भी जाता था कि ऐसा सच कुछ हो रहा है. ओके, तो विद टाइम
people don't just disappear out of the streets.
तो देख, उनका फिर 1918 1920 में जो रशियन सिविल वॉर हुई उसमें भी इनका बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट रोल था. मतलब जो रेबिलियन कर रहे हैं उनके साथ घुल मिल जाना, है ना, और अपने ऑपरेटिव्स को दे यूज्ड टू इन्फॉर्म. सो दिस इज वेयर इट ऑल स्टार्टेड. प्रेजेंट सेंचुरी की जो एस्पियोनाज है वो चेका नहीं शुरू करी थी, अकॉर्डिंग टू मी. ओके, मैं अपने उससे पर्सपेक्टिव से बता रहा हूँ.
So to the two most famous espionage organizations imprinted their name in the history books. What were the CIA and KGB? To sum up.
Okay, so they were both had different pasts, but with time, after the Cold War started, the CIA was formed in 1947 and KGB was formed in 1953. So I told you the KGB had previous past, though the name was not KGB, but they were performing the same the things that the KGB do presently. So
KGB is there presently somewhere.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, you are a firm believer that like CIA is out in the open. It has now come into the limelight. KGB is still in the shadows.
Yeah, we don't see movies about KGB, do we? So I told you about Cheka. Things moved on, and the communist people were clever. They saw that they have so much power. They also have the power to overthrow the government. So frequently the government in Soviet Union, they merged their secret organizations with other secret organizations. So
consolidating it into one big organization.
Like they for checks and balances. For example, I'll tell you, Cheka was merged with OGPU. It was also a secret organization. It was in Russian. Its translation was State Political Administration. So it was
pretty big.
Yeah. So it was merged with it, and also once again in 1930 it was absorbed with the OGPU, the United States Political Administration. Its name was United States Political Administration, not the
not their
don't get confused with the United States. So it was merged, and at this time there was an important organization of the branch of these organizations. This was the MGB. Like, before,
to clarify for the listeners, you are talking before the formation of KGB or before their apparent acts began.
Correct.
Okay.
So MGB was supposedly as I have seen, it was a merciless tool of the Communist Party. They
Their
at this
double-edged
time,
sword.
so at this time, they were in millions, their staff,
True.
and at this time, during the World War, they were the agents of the MGB were totally aware of the Manhattan Project. Like something is going on, and it is also
Okay.
said that the professors in the Manhattan Project were also, some of them were also the member of the MGB. So the Soviet Union had full knowledge about the A bomb. They knew everything,
A-bomb.
that something's going to happen. So like in later in 1949, they developed their own atomic bomb. They were everywhere. As far as I know, the network, the secret services, either the MGB and the KGB had, was vast. We cannot even, there is no approximate number as well. We don't know how many are there in actual. We don't know the figure.
There
Now,
have been many data leaks. There have been many data leaks from their archives from the governments, like
yeah,
to quote Mitrokin
yeah.
Archives 2, the Panama Papers. There have been data leaks since ages, and still now we don't know the exact number.
But
Because you can find a official website of the CIA, the Central Intelligence
yeah,
Agency, but you cannot find an
if
official website for the KGB.
not just CIA, not just CIA, you can also find Mossad secret agency's website on the internet.
The official website.
Yeah, check it out. It's still there.
So coming back to the topic, now CIA has been since 1947 and KGB has been there since around that time only,
1954.
1954.
1954.
So that time suggests that it was around after the Second World War.
Yeah,
They were
after
started
the Second
after
World.
the Second World War. So
Yeah.
what was their purpose after the greatest war has been ended?
See,
US
the
had
greatest.
signed peace papers. Each and every country had signed peace papers with each other, peace agreements with each other. So
Yeah.
what is the purpose of having a secret organization that has the sole aim to neutralize dangers?
First off, the sole purpose of these organizations was to keep a check on each other. What is he doing? What are they doing right now? Because secret details are not, they won't share, because what are the future plans? Like we know that during the Cold War era, there was total infighting among the both two superpowers. Like they were not directly involved in conflicts, but through a third party, they used to get in a conflict indirectly. Like for example, I'll tell you, during the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan,
Okay.
it is said the General Zia-ul Haq, the president of Pakistan at that time, he openly declared about getting aid from the CIA and the United States for training the Mujahideens. He openly, accepted these facts. Like I'm not making this up. This is there on the internet. If you'll try to check out, you'll get it. Like even I was astonished to know the fact. Like how can someone openly accept these facts? Like
And
you are
a
taking,
nation leader. And the
yeah,
nation leader, he is openly accepting the fact that United States, who has been the greatest enemy for the terrorist organizations, they
yeah.
neutralized so many terrorist organizations and they were funding one.
And how that organization turned against them in the coming years. We can also like the Mujahideens, the Taliban, they were at times were aided by the United States. So that is a different topic. We can do a podcast about that sometime later.
You are talking about CIA's activities in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
So was KGB also involved in Southeast Asia?
Oh, of course. I'm gonna take ours, if we really go deeper into talking about the influence of KGB in Southeast Asia. See, first off, what I'm talking about has no proof, okay? But it is so evidential that one cannot disagree with the fact. In 1953, when Indira Gandhi visited Soviet Union for the first time, the KGB agents approached her. Sorry, it is way like totally. One cannot believe the fact but it is true. So when we come to we come further a bit, like a decade later, we see that Lal Bahadur Shastri was found dead, more like assassinated. If some of you have watched the movie Tadaspam Files, the fact they were,
Uh,
yeah,
is there a technical glitch?
yeah, no, sorry, I could hear you. See,
Yeah.
what I came to know, like Indira Gandhi was approached by KGB agents. See, after the 1962 war, there was
1962 war being the Indo-Pak war.
no Indo-China war, the
Indo-China war.
Sino-Indian war. Yeah,
Sorry.
like
Yeah.
the one we lost, the
The
only
one we
war.
lost.
See, in that, it is totally said. I'll tell you. It's a vast conspiracy. I read the book. So at that
The
time,
book being Mitrokin Archives
yeah,
or
yeah, the
Mitrokin
Mitrokan
Archives.
archives.
The Mitrokin
The
Archives. Okay.
Mitrokan, yeah. See, so at that time, V. Krishna Menon was the defense minister of India.
At the time,
So
Indira Gandhi was the president.
no,
Sorry,
at the
prime
time,
minister.
Jawaharlal Nehru was the prime minister. So see, the many people claim that Jawaharlal Nehru himself was a communist. See, I
These are
don't know
claims
about that,
that
but
cannot be
yeah,
proved.
yeah, the claim that cannot be proved. It is said that V. Krishna Menon was a KGB agent. Okay, in the book, it's
Oh
not
my god.
in the book. In the book, okay,
In the book, okay.
in the book. So the book claimed. So V. Krishna Menon was trying to buy the fighter aircraft Lightning at that time. They were the UK. They were like the newest of technology that aircraft had. So they were the defense minister. So he was planning to buy those aircrafts. So I don't know what happened. The UK and the Indian government was in direct contact. They were going to buy those aircrafts, but I don't know, something happened, and V. Krishna Menon thought of buying the MiG-21 aircraft. Suddenly, out of nowhere, he ordered the MiG company to, like at that time, I don't remember the number, but at that time, suddenly he thought of buying the MiG-21 aircrafts. They were contacting each other for the sale of the aircrafts, but I don't know what happened. So the conspiracy theory behind this is that V. Krishna Menon was a KGB agent. I'm not saying anything. The V.
Because
Krishna
the
Menon.
book has many claims that that has been just proven to be BS, because the Indian assembly, the Indian assembly that took place, I don't remember the date, after the release of the Mitrokin archives publicly.
Yeah.
They researched and investigated
I'll-
what they
I'll-
announced, that these
Yeah.
facts that were stated in that said book
Mhm.
were false, and they
Yeah.
had no head and foot. So
Yeah.
what you are saying can
It might be true.
ignite up.
It-
It might be true.
When you talked about the book, like I think in 2005 this book was launched, huh? Am I right? 2005.
I think so. Yeah.
I even read that countries like the United States and United Kingdom formed special committees, to research the facts, whatever was in the book, because that this book was not yet another book by any, it was not a superficial book. It might be superficial, but it was written by Vasily Mitrokhin. He was like the biggest member of the KGB at one point of time. So the facts claimed by him might be right, but just to check the facts, UK and United States formed special committees. But at that time, so like the facts in the book about KGB's special relation with India were so controversial. The government of India at that time didn't even consider to just as I know, they just said that these claims are totally vague. Like countries like United States and UK made special committees just for checking out the facts which were written in the book, and we didn't even care to check about it. So that is it.
Even Paris assembled to form a committee and check their claims.
the French,
The French.
the French, yeah.
So I think a proper committee is yet to be formed, and so what are your thoughts about the biggest controversy India has seen. The first being the code name VON, that might strike a few pics in your brain, and also the second being the Lal Bahadur Shastri, who was the prospective prime minister at that time, was rumored to be assassinated at Tashkent. So
Yeah.
what does the facts or the papers say?
The first conspiracy you talked about, the VON. We'll start by the death of Lal Bahadur Shastri, and we'll definitely come, to the VON, what you talked about. See, Lal Bahadur Shastri, it is, supposedly, it is said that he was poisoned. Like, there were blue spots on his body. Like, there were like, when they brought after the post-mortem report didn't even come. Like, nobody had the access. Like, see, if there had been a postmortem, we could have, we could have we could have come to a conclusion that how he died.
Yeah.
The last, as far as I remember, it is said that he was poisoned. I have no idea about how he was poisoned, but it is said that the last meal he had was at 10:40 in the night, when he had milk. And it is said that the personal chef Lal Bahadur Shastri had was also the personal cook for the Indian ambassador in Tashkent. So I think some way or the other, the cook, the special cook, was somehow related to the KGB, or I don't think so. But there has been some conspiracy theories. There are a lot of conspiracy theories about Lal Bahadur Shastri's death.
Because
And
one unnamed reporter has also released a book, uh, which was the basis for the movie Tashkent Files. And
I think the name of the author, he also did an interview on YouTube. I think his name is Anuj. His name is Anuj. I think I don't remember the surname. He has interviews on YouTube as well,
okay,
as far as
so
I remember.
I think everyone should check that out. That movie opens so many questions in our head, like till what extent was the Indian government involved in his assassination? To what extent was the KGB involved in his assassination? And the most important question, if even he was assassinated, what was the reason? How was he such a prominent figure in the eyes of the KGB that he had to be assassinated? Rumoredly assassinated.
First off, I told you about how Indira Gandhi went to Russia. Just it was her first visit. So I think I told you that KGB influenced her, like the KGB agents first contacted her in 1953 in Moscow. So when they saw that Krishna Menon cannot be the successor of Jawaharlal Nehru, they thought of a second option. That was daughter of Jawaharlal Nehru, Indira Gandhi. After the
I
death of
think
Jawaharlal,
Mr. Morarji
see,
Desai was also a contender. And
see,
Lal Bahadur Shastri was also a strong contender for the post of PM.
about that, currently in my history books, there is the mention of a syndicate within the Congress party. The syndicate included leaders like K. Kamraj, and there were four or five other leaders. So at that time, they were deciding everything in the within the Congress. Like, it was just like though they were not in power, but they did everything. So they at that time, after the death of Jawaharlal Nehru, Gulzari Lal Nanda was appointed the acting PM at that time. So during this time, the main contenders for the prime minister's post were Morarji Desai, Lal Bahadur Shastri, and Indira Gandhi. All three options were considered. Morarji Desai was considered to be self-righteous, ignorant, and a right-winger. It was considered within the party. So the syndicate, totally forgot about
Morarji Desai.
Morarji Desai being the prime minister. When it came up to Indira Gandhi, they thought that she was a bit, inexperienced in politics. So it won't be right to make her the prime minister at this point of time. So they thought of Lal Bahadur Shastri. He had this image that he is not corrupt. He had well contact with he was in the workers had that belief that
On him.
he,
And I think when I read about him, I found out that he only had the government appointed cars. He only
yeah,
he had only assets that were given to him by the government.
yeah, yeah.
I think he was also involved setting up
uh,
Amul.
uh, yeah. At this time the white revolution was also coming up.
So I think he was
No,
a
he was
very
no,
key role.
I'm
He
so
had a
sorry.
very, very key role in the white revolution, I think.
White revolution and the green revolution as well, because at that particular time India was totally dependent on the United States for the food grains. I'll tell you about the PL 480 program where India got food grains from America for a lot of time. Like my grandparents still talk about it. Like the the quality of the food was like it was below average. So one thing came up that beggars cannot be choosers. We had to satisfy what they provided us. So at this time the thought of green revolution came up, and after that how India became self dependent for the food grains. The rest is history. So he's
Yeah,
credited for the green revolution as well. We have gone a little off
off
topic.
topic.
So at that
So
time only Lal Bahadur Shastri was the best, face who could be the PM. And the syndicate thought not the syndicate thought for itself. They will not be in power, but looking at Lal Bahadur Shastri's personality, they could make him
influence him.
do. So this was the sole purpose. Like he won't say a word whatever we'll do. He'll just approve it. But like for some time it did happen, but after I think as days passed, he thought of like not working for the
For the
syndicate, but
syndicate against them.
yeah. There are conspiracy theories that assassination of Lal Bahadur Shastri involved the syndicate. And after the death of Lal Bahadur Shastri in 1966, again Gulzari Lal Nanda was appointed as the acting PM for about, I don't know, 2 months. I'm not sure, but at this time syndicate came into existence once again. They again thought that who should be the prime minister. They could never say yes to Morarji Desai for becoming the prime minister. So they thought of appointing Indira Gandhi as the prime minister, because for the same fact that she is inexperienced, he has the support of the people. She's the daughter of Jawaharlal Nehru, so we can
She could be
make the.
influenced easily.
But think the tables turned, and this is how Indira Gandhi became the prime minister for the first time. And there was some indifferences in Congress that we don't have to talk about how the Congress O, how they were divided, and that has a different
That is a different story altogether. So
yeah
when we come to the KGB influencing Indian politics and Indian government's way of working,
yeah
why was the word socialist added to the constitution? That is a question that has been burning in my mind since I watched the movie and read the book. So why
that
was the
was
word
that was
socialist
simply to
added?
lure the when you ask this, the simplest answer you could get is to lure the Soviet Union, to express how close our ties with the Soviet Union, how close, just to just to prove that how close we are. They
To
are
their
first off,
values and
yeah,
ideals. So
correct,
to sum up,
yeah,
CIA influenced Southwest Asia to be precise, Pakistan,
yeah,
Afghanistan, and
yeah.
so can we demarcate their region of influence? Where
Mm,
was CIA? Where did CIA had the most influence, and where did KGB had the most influence? Because as far as we can picture, there seems to be a wall where
yeah,
uh, this side, most of the activities, illegal activities or activities that were not performed by the government directly, were in the Western Hemisphere, and the activities, the illegal activities, and the assassinations, controversies, all happened, which are happening to be linked to the KGB. They are
Yeah.
seeming to be found at the Eastern Hemisphere. Like they are just controlling. They have just
See,
placed their headquarters in the
when you
range of
talk
influence.
about influence of CIA and KGB, the countries which had the support, I'll tell you. Like after the Treaty of Friendship and Cooperation between India and Soviet Union, it was official. We are going with the Soviet Union, right? It's similarly the countries which had the support of America and the countries which had the support of the Soviet Union. The whole world was divided into two parts. So Abhigyan, we've been talking about the conspiracy theories and how Shastri was murdered. So like you addressed about VON, the
So
code
I
name
think
VON.
the
You
podcast
I think
has now been turned where you have started questioning. So
yeah, yeah, I've been speaking for so long. I think you should add up about what was the code name VON and like what was the conspiracy theory. Like
so
please.
so according to the Tashkent Files book and also the Mitrokin Archive 2, the VUN code name was supposedly uh, related to Indira Gandhi or the PMO at the time.
Yeah.
And uh, not to be disrespectful to any political party or to have it any to have any other meaning to what I'm saying, there were found to be in the sources that
Yeah.
2 or 3 bags full of cash were found at the house of the PMO, and also the state of emergency that was declared, the
Yeah.
shootings, the assassinations of their own family members, they all were rumored to be influenced by the KGB.
And adding to that, according to the Mitrokan archive too. So added to what you said, according to sources, till the year 1973, there were 10 newspapers on KGB's payroll. Like they had to pay the money. Like so they were all influenced. And
So just like
till nine,
today, social media influence today, like social media influencers are paid by the companies to promote their
yeah,
brand.
yeah, that is
KGB
so
was
accurate.
KGB had these newspaper on their payroll. So
Yeah,
how were they
and
influencing?
so at that time, like there were not televisions as much as today. So people, the main source of information were the newspapers. So till 1975, they were. It is said that there were total of 5,500 articles that were planted.
In
Can you
India?
believe it? In India
Okay,
till 1975. I'm talking about the after during the emergency rule as well. Like there were total of 5,500 articles that were planted.
that
And
said good
to,
about, I think, the Communist Party
yeah,
and their
yeah.
ideals.
See, not directly about the Communist Party. Not
Okay,
about the Communist Party, about the government. Because
about the government,
yeah.
just praising the
So
government. So to conclude, as a main ending question, I would like to
yeah,
ask, how does these organizations still affect the news and politics of India? And if they do, are there
yeah.
any available proofs for them?
What are we talking about at present that happened years back? And that we came about all these theories recently. What is happening presently, we don't know what's going on. But I think about after some few years, we'll get to know about it eventually.
Maybe 15,
In
20 years?
yeah, see what are we talking about presently is we are talking about the years 1970s, 1980s, and all these things came up after the 2000, after 2005, like when the Mitrokan archives came up and all the internet blogs we used to see, that how conspiracy theories were made.
So what does this hold for India? We have talked about the history a lot now. There,
Yeah,
I think 30, 40 minutes have passed, and
yeah,
we have been talking about what happened 50 years ago. So how does these things still influence India? Because now I think the government is pro USA also, at
Yeah,
least in front of the media, and it is also pro Russia.
yeah.
They the PMO and also
The
they
Prime
go
Minister's office, the
the
PMO.
Prime Minister's office. They
Yeah,
still go to Russia. They still go to USA, and they have talks. They make deals. They make agreements. They sign agreements. So how are these two powers,
yeah.
USA and Russia, aligning their goals with India simultaneously?
Before I think 2014. See, I'm not praising the government, but it is a fact. For some time after the broke out, after the disintegration of the Soviet Union, we were still leaning with Russia for for quite a few years. But Congress has been in power for, the if you talk about not just about the Congress government, about the BJP government in 1998, after the when the Atal Bihari Vajpayee was the prime minister, there were we were not in talking terms with the United States at the time, because we had the CTBT and all the tests that took place, Mission Shakti and the nuclear test. We were not in talking terms, and added to that we had sanctions. So we were
Based upon
we were
because of the nuclear tests.
and at present, it's just the foreign policy of the present government to keep a friendly relation with both of these countries and not to involve the conflicts indirectly or directly, which and
Because I think for the government to be favorable by the people here, I
yeah,
think it cannot be pro one specific idealism,
yeah,
because it's a big country, 130 crore people, and
yeah,
we cannot expect them to think in one direction only. There,
yeah.
mu-
Like,
there must
for
be a
we are
few
talking
people,
about,
there
yeah,
must be many people who may be pro capitalism,
yeah,
or that is the prominent viewpoint of the USA government, US
yeah,
government, and there must be a very large population that must be still following the socialist policies. And
yeah.
being pro one country, it's dangerous in the present times where global connection has is on such a big level.
I'll tell you, when Prime Minister Modi visited Palestine, visited Palestine, and at the same time he visited Israel. So like those two countries, see, that signifies what I'm saying. There might be conflict in between those two countries, but we are neutral. We have friendship with both of these conflicting parties. So that signifies that it didn't really affect the relations with Israel, and it affect our relations with Palestine. We have the same relationship. Israel
Neutral,
and
the
Palestine.
neutral policy is working out good for us.
It is.
So what is the concluding statement by your side on the shocking facts about KGB and CIA? What will be your mic drop sentence?
Maybe not the mic drop sentence, but I remember there was some professor from the University of Cambridge, Christopher Andrews. He was a big professor. He At that time, I'm not talking about what is happening currently. I'm talking about the past. So he told that the entire country was up for sale. Even the syndicate said that Indira Gandhi is going to sell the nation. At that time, when we talk about such facts and such matter, it personally feels, I feel a bit, I'm not quite happy after knowing these facts, though they are very shocking, though they are, very
It
much,
makes you uncomfortable.
yeah, like, how can someone it is quite amusing, it is quite saddening that the prime minister taking bribes from an international secret
Espionage
service organization.
organization. I think we should end it here, because there are big powers at play here, and where big powers are at play, and they form their secret deals, they form their under table handshakes, they display their images differently, their views
Yeah,
differently in front of the camera. I think it's really ignorant of us to not
correct.
think that these will not affect us in the coming years. These things, I personally still believe that on the social media there
Yeah.
might be conspiracy theorists that are saying that aliens are still in a lockup in, I don't know, area 51. But keeping aside those facts, I think
Yeah.
what the governments are doing, I
Yeah.
don't think they are entirely true to us. They are not
Yeah.
entirely forthcoming to us. They are not entirely transparent. There is still there is still a barrier between the common public and the government, which should not stay, because these are facts that the public deserves to know. At least the present generation, which has become, I am hopeful that it has become more open minded about these facts. We
Yeah.
deserve to know why
Yeah.
these things happened and why were they carried out. The right thing for one government may be very harmful for some other country.
Yeah.
Assassination of a prime minister may be benefits of the KGB or the Russian government or whoever was responsible for his death. That harmed India very much,
Yeah.
because he
Yeah.
was because as far as we know, he was a very good candidate for the prime minister's post. He
Yeah.
had done work
He carried out.
that
He carried out
he,
his. Yeah.
he carried out his duties well. I think we should end here and
Yeah. We should.
leave the conclusion up to the listeners. Thank you.
So this was the first episode of the New You Show. And for more episodes like this, do follow our Instagram page and Twitter handle and comment there how did you like this. Also, if you have any suggestions for the next topic, don't forget to comment. For now, signing off till the next episode.